Welcome to Amazing Top 5, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Top 5 Strangest Weapons Used in World War II. Number 5. Soviet Anti-Tank Dogs. As the Russians were being overwhelmed on the Eastern Front by the Wehrmacht, the Red Army took to desperate measures, including the use of the so-called anti-tank dog. Initially, these dogs were trained to carry a bomb to a specific target, release the device with its teeth, and then return to its operator. Unfortunately, it was nearly impossible to get the dogs to do this, so the Soviets relied on much simpler strategy: just blow up the dog. These suicide dogs were taught that food awaits them at the bottom of tanks. So, with a 26-pound bomb strapped on, and with the dogs deliberately kept hungry, they would desperately run to their targets in search of food, unaware of their eventual fate. A lever attached to the rig would strike the bottom of the tank as the dog dived under, causing the bomb to detonate. The dogs became so effective that some Germans began shooting any dog on sight. The Soviets used about 40,000 dogs for various army tasks, and an undocumented estimate places the number of German tanks destroyed at about 300. Number 4. Japan's Kamikaze Attack Plane. Looking to refine the power of the kamikaze attack, the Japanese introduced the Oka in September 1944, a large piloted bomb. It was a rocket-propelled aircraft designed specifically for kamikaze attacks and was equipped with a 2,643-pound warhead. During an attack, the Oka was carried under the fuselage of a Mitsubishi G4M until its target was within range. Once released, a pilot would glide as close to the target as possible, hit the rocket engines, and then bullet towards the ship at a horrendous speed. The Allies quickly learned to attack the Oka carrier aircraft before it had a chance to release it, greatly diminishing its effectiveness. But on at least one occasion, it sunk a U.S. destroyer. Number 3. Fritz X. Dubbed Fritz X, this was an air-launched German radio-controlled bomb. Its primary function was to destroy heavily armored naval targets. It was based on the standard SD-1400 armor-piercing bomb, but it featured superior aerodynamics, 4 small wings extending 4.4 feet across, and a tail. But to drop the bomb, a gunner had to fly directly over the intended target, thus leaving him tremendously exposed. It proved to be a formidable weapon. On September 9, 1943, soon after the Italian truce, the Germans dropped several of them on the battleship Roma, sinking it with 1,455 men on board. It was also used to sink the British cruiser HMS Spartan, the British destroyer HMS Janus, and the Newfoundland hospital ship. It also damaged many other ships. Over 2,000 Fritz X's were built, but only 200 were ever dropped. Part of the problem was the bombs could not change direction abruptly, exposing the bomber groups who suffered heavy losses. Number 2. V-3 Cannon. Like the V-1 cruise missile and the V-2 rocket that preceded it, the V-3 cannon, aka England Cannon, was another so-called Nazi vengeance weapon. It was a massive supergun built directly into a hill and capable of firing artillery shells across the English Channel, from France to London. The V-3 operated according to a multi-charge principle, in which secondary propellant charges were fired to progressively accelerate the projectile as it moved along the barrel of the cannon. During trials in May 1944, the V-3 achieved a range of up to 55 miles, and tests in July 1944 saw shells reach a distance of 58 miles. Of the 2 V-3s built, only the secondary gun saw action. From January 11 to February 22, 1945, some 183 rounds were fired. Its target was the recently liberated city of Luxembourg. But it proved to be largely ineffectual. Of the 142 rounds that landed, the V-3 took the lives of only 10 people, wounding another 35. Number 1. Dora and Gustav rail cannons. Speaking of big guns, and the Nazis clearly had a thing for big guns, these two 31.5-inch caliber German cannons were absolute behemoths. And in fact, they are the largest cannons the world has ever seen. Each of them had to be transported in several pieces, assembled, and then mounted on a prepared emplacement, a procedure that required around 4,000 men. The Nazis deployed an entire anti-aircraft regiment to protect them, along with special troops to guard against partisan attacks. Of the two, only Gustav was put into active service. It fired 42 shots during the 1942 siege of Sebastopol, and the penetrative power of its huge shells, each weighing 11,000 pounds, was enough to destroy an ammunitions dump protected by 100 feet of rock. There were plans to equip it with rocket-propelled shells that could reach targets as far as 90 miles away. Weapons expert Alexander Ludick refers to them as technological masterpieces but says they were basically a waste of materials, technological expertise, and manpower. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel.